welcome to our topic of Mike and JD. I'm JD.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome to the show. So today's topic is the Marvel Disney Plus shows. Ooh. Now, I guess we might as well start talking about the one that's already partially out, WandaVision.
Right.
So now this is gonna be spoiler free, but so we got a quick little glimpse in the first 3 episodes. What's your take on it, Mike?
I like the formatting. I feel like WandaVision was sort of an odd choice to lead off Phase 4, but I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I think it fits nicely into those 30-minute chunks. It doesn't feel like cut off, but it also doesn't really particularly feel like a Marvel movie on that scale either. So I think it'll be hard to gauge until I see one that's more action focused. Like comparing The Mandalorian to Solo, I feel like it's a little bit easier than comparing WandaVision to Age of Ultron. It's sort of such a different beast that I think when we see Falcon and Winter Soldier, that will be like something we can very easily feel like, oh, this is Marvel. Although we may still get that yet from WandaVision. No spoilers, but I think that will probably come in the back half of the season.
Yeah, it definitely might come in the back half of the season, but I'm also okay if it doesn't come. I'm okay if, no, this isn't going to feel like a Marvel movie because this is something different. Like you said, when we get the other shows, I'm sure they're going to feel more like Marvel movies, but I'm okay with them branching out and doing something that doesn't feel familiar, feels different.
Right.
I'm all for that. Take chances. Do more stuff. Take risks. Don't always stick with the same safe formula.
Right. I mean, since we're already on the topic of Marvel TV, it might be a good time to bring up. I was a big fan of the previous iterations of Marvel TV. I really, really liked Daredevil. I really liked Jessica Jones. I even really liked Luke Cage. And I didn't dislike Iron Fist as much as most people did. I thought it was fine. It wasn't as good as the other 3, but it was fine. I like those shows a lot. They did not feel like they were part of the same universe at all, though. It was supposed to be MCU, but I'm watching this. I'm like, it does not feel like this is the same universe with Tony Stark and Thor and everything. This feels like a completely different universe. Great shows, but they definitely did not feel connected at all. No, I mean, there were some nice little Easter eggs, but you're right. It definitely didn't feel like it lined up with the Marvel universe. But I think that was partly a rights issue. I knew that Iron Man could never show up. There could never be any crossover. It was just sort of this is a totally different thing. I feel like I could totally see Charlie Cox's Daredevil popping up in a show like She-Hulk, and it would just totally work.
Well, there's all the rumors about him being possibly in the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I hope that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But like I said, they were great shows. Just felt like a different universe.
Right, and I mean, I think that has to do with the whole Pearl Mutter situation. It was a different showrunner, different. Now everything's sort of in-house at Disney, all under Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
But I do think it will be interesting when we get to the darker ones. I don't know how familiar you are with the premise of Moon Knight, but Moon Knight's pretty dark in the comics, so it'd be interesting to see kind of how close that does feel to a Daredevil.
Well, now correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, the whole kind of premise of Moon Knight is that you don't know if he's getting these visions from God or if he's just schizophrenic. Is that kind of the deal with him? Yeah.
Right. He's like Batman with multiple personality disorder, but you're not actually sure if he has multiple personality disorder or if he has this ancient Egyptian god talking to him.
So yeah, that's definitely a that's a very risky show in regards because one, most people don't even know who Moon Knight is.
and two, like you say, it's darker. It's not like it's harder to fit into the general family image, which is why I'm happy that taking that out. Though I want them to try to push boundaries, try to do something different.
Well,
also, Oscar Isaac, great casting.
That is a great casting choice. I'm sure they will do him much more justice than X-Men Apocalypse did.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of the reason why I bring up the Netflix shows, is that even though they didn't kind of fit into what we think of as Marvel currently, I do think, especially with talk of maybe Daredevil's going to be rated R, and also somehow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there might...
You mean Deadpool, I think.
I'm sorry, yes, sorry, Deadpool. With possibly Deadpool 3 being rated R, there might be this like darker subsection of the MCU that is not family friendly, and you can kind of, bring in these darker characters and these darker ideas and...
Well, also speaking of those dark ideas, it's not going to be on Disney Plus, but on Hulu there's going to be the MODOK show. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I have not.
Well, it has a very Robot Chicken vibe to it.
Is it?
It's like it's stop motion-esque, and like she's like MODOK's story is like, Dad, you killed my boyfriend, like just a casual death, said given off as a sitcom joke.
God, is it similar to like Harley Quinn in vibe?
I would say more Robot Chicken vibe, but not that far off from Harley Quinn. I mean, again, this is just based on a quick sneak peek. But
although, has there been any info on whether or not that's in the MCU?
It's definitely not going to be. But
okay.
But it's still a new project they're doing.
Right. No, I definitely will be interesting.
And also, Patton Oswalt's doing the voice, and that's perfect.
That is good casting.
Patton Oswalt. Yeah.
I enjoyed his role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I think, it's fun to have.
Well, everyone check out, it's actually a really funny thing. When he was on an episode of Parks of Iraq, he was doing, a citizen filibuster. So so you just go to Patton Oswalt, just talk about whatever nerdy thing you want to, and they end up having to cut it down, but they put, his full thing on the internet. Then you say how Thanos is going to use the reality stone to get into the Star Wars universe to combine the two universes. It was it's just this hilarious rant.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think he's great casted for that. So that's something. Like I said, it's not going to be MCU. It's not even going to be on Disney Plus, but it is something that's showing that they are going to at least do a little bit more adult stuff here and there.
So, of the ones that are coming out, I have here WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special,
That's just one episode.
Secret Invasion, Ironheart, and Armor Wars. Of those, kind of, what are your favorites? What are your least favorites? What are you looking forward to?
I love She-Hulk, and what I love about She-Hulk is that she has no right to be such a good character, because her origin is she got a blood transfusion, and you know why She-Hulk was created?
Yes, but say it anyway.
Because they were afraid they were going to introduce her on the live-action TV show, quick, we gotta secure the rights to a female version of Hulk.
Yeah.
Like I said, the character has no right to be any good when you look at her origins, but she became this amazing character. She has the ability to transform back, but she doesn't because you know what? She likes who she is as She-Hulk. She's also a lawyer, and she goes into court with her green skin and her oversized nature. Like I said, she's just such an amazing character.
Yeah.
So much more than she has any right to be. Therefore, I'm very excited about that show.
Yeah, I'd say She-Hulk is definitely my favorite show. One of my most anticipated ones. For basically all the reasons you said. I love a good courtroom drama, right? It's got Daredevil crossover potential. We already know
that would be great.
We already know that we're going to get the Abomination and the original Hulk, of course. And it actually kind of inadvertently makes perfect sense, because in the comic books it was kind of weird how she could just randomly, she could choose to transform or not transform, whereas original Hulk couldn't. But now in the MCU, he's Professor Hulk and he's merged.
That is true.
So it makes perfect sense that, like, when she gets the blood transfusion, she is also, like, totally in control of her transformation.
Another show I'm excited about is Hawkeye. Not because of Clint Barton, I could care less about him, but I've been a fan of Kate Bishop since in the comics, and I feel Haley Steinfeld is perfect casting for the role. I think she's an amazing actress. Like, ever since I saw her in True Grit, like I'm like, this kid has an amazing future. So I was super excited for her. I also like that they're doing Echo, Maya Lopez, very obscure character, and how they even cast a deaf Native American to accurately portray the role. Like, they want the extra step to find the very niche casting that they needed, and because she has the power to copy everybody else's ability. Like Taskmaster, but like, you know, it's an interesting character. You don't see a lot of deaf characters. You don't see a lot of Native American characters. The fact that you see one that's both, that's, you know, pretty a rarity. So like I said, I'm excited about that. Not because of the lead, but because of the other characters.
Well, I definitely, since you brought it up, I think this would be a good time to talk about, I think, this is definitely more of a workshopping, testing ground kind of environment, I think. Like, you know, things like Ironheart and Miss Marvel, I think, are things that Disney has been wanting to make movies of for a while, but it's hard to get a movie made about a more obscure character, like you were saying. I think this is sort of a great environment to introduce these more niche characters, and if people respond well to them, then you can, you know, fold them into the movies.
Yes. Well, yeah. And as you bring up, Miss Marvel is definitely one I am very much excited for because I love Kamala Khan. I just find her to be, I love how she's, you know, just such a big fangirl. I love how she's the total nerd. Like, I love that character, and so I'm really excited to see her in the MCU. She's another character that I've been waiting for a while, just like for them to finally introduce. So I'm happy for her.
See, I feel like I'm hoping that the Miss Marvel show does for me, for Kamala Khan, what the Into the Spider-Verse did for me for Miles Morales. Like, I know very little about Ms. Marvel, the character. I know she has, like, stretchy powers, which is generally my least favorite power set. Like, I hate, like, Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man, and, like, it's just not interesting to me. So, like, I do know that she's, like, a fangirl of the Avengers, so that's pretty cool. So, like, I'm hoping that, like, this series, like, makes me fall in love, because I know that so many people, like, really are big fans of this character. And so, like, I want to be on board with that. Right now, like I said, I'm, like, you know, until we get a trailer or something, I'm not, like, I'm lukewarm. But I think it could be a slam dunk, because I don't think they would waste this opportunity. I think, you know, they know how popular this character is. I mean, they've already said they're going to bring her in the next Captain Marvel. So.
Yeah. Also, another great one, What If? That is just, like, I always love those comics. That one, yeah. I am just super excited for.
Yeah, that's just a great concept. I mean, everyone loves a good What If story. I mean, like, I loved Star Wars Infinities. I mean, it's just, like, nerds' favorite things to do is be like, oh, well, like, what if, like, Captain America, you know, was Venom or whatever? Like, the people just love to, like, go crazy with stories, and usually winds up happening in the main universe, but sometimes, you know, there's stuff that's so crazy that, you know, it's relegated to the what if, you know, realm. No, and it's nice also it's that it's animated, so you can kind of go crazy and do whatever you want, and you can also, you know, get the actors back more cheaply. I think that's another key thing, that they got everybody back.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it was definitely smart to do that show animated also, because when you think about it, like, the budget would also be phenomenal, like, per episode to do all the special effects of going to outer space in one episode, and then the next episode oh, you gotta make a World War II set. Like, yeah, that would be just so impractical to do live action. So animation was definitely the right decision there. So,
Yeah.
super excited.
I think honestly it might just be more of an getting the talent, because I mean with the Mandalorian technology, I think you could do outer space on a budget, but you can't get Chris Pratt on a budget.
But it's also the thing is, it's easy to do outer space when that's all you're doing. So like, but see, the problem is you have to build a completely unrelated set every episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, definitely the talent is definitely a big part of it too. That definitely makes a huge difference. So what do you think about Loki?
Okay, so I've definitely warmed up. Like Loki is a sine wave in terms of like how much I love/hate the character, because I don't know, when he was first introduced, I thought he was this fun, complex villain. I'm like, oh wow, there's like not that many villains in the MCU that are like really memorable, because they used to always kill off their villains. So I was like, Loki's like the only.
Yeah, he was the first memorable villain in the MCU, without a doubt.
Right, exactly. So I was like really in love with that character, but then that started being like this like anti-hero, and like everyone was obsessed with him. So then by the time Thor 2 came around, I was super over Loki and how many times he dies and then doesn't die, and then he dies and then he doesn't die and then he dies. But then it's happened so many times at this point, it's looped back around to being funny and fun. And I think Loki's been dead long enough that I'm okay having him be alternate reality, misadventures. And also it's a kind of fun way to bring in like the multiverse and alternate timelines, and seeing the trailer really won me over on that one of like, alright, I'm down for the wacky misadventures of time-stranded Loki. It's also kind of fun because this is like Loki fresh off of his defeat on the Avengers, so this is not like touchy-feely Loki who's like spilling his guts to Thor. This is like, oh, I just got my butt kicked and lost the Chitauri and the scepter, that Loki. So I'm excited to see him back, and hopefully, he can slip right back into that character. Yeah. And I have almost no doubt that he'll somehow stumble his way back into the main Marvel Universe, in time for Thor 4.
I won't be surprised if he does, but I really hope he doesn't. Like I said, I definitely was not at all excited when the show was first announced. I'm like, haven't we got enough Loki? I'm kind of sick of the character. Yeah. But like I said, I like how the weird vibes of the show. Like, this whole timeline. I like how okay, we're gonna do a lot of weird stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm always a fan of the weird. Like,
right,
go for it, go for it. But I'm like kind of sick of the Loki we've already seen. And like I said, I've seen enough of him and Thor. Like, I don't want him to come back to the main universe.
I agree. I mean, I when they first announced the show, I think it might have been even, a while back, there were like rumors of it, and so if it was just, it turns out that Loki survived the encounter with Thanos, and we're just going to tell more stories with him, I would skip this show. But as it stands, I'm excited because especially with the Owen Wilson's character and like.
Well, Owen Wilson is always good.
I mean, that's just I'm down for it.
Okay, and then. See, I feel like the Falcon the Winter Soldier is going to be one of the most, like, straightforward shows that we're going to get. If you get what I'm saying.
I agree, and I think that's not a bad thing.
I wasn't saying that as a bad term. I was just saying as a matter of fact.
I think this is going to be the Mandalorian of the Marvel Universe. I think this is going to be your straight ahead, this is like a Marvel movie, but on TV. Like, I think it's going to be that. And I am definitely here for it. I think, you're going to get more Zemo. You're going to get, I think at certain points you're going to get both, Falcon as Captain America and Bucky as Captain America. So people can stop, like, being upset about that. I think you'll probably even get a bit of Old Man Steve, which will be exciting, And
Yeah, it's like I love all, like I've been saying how I love all the weird stuff, but you can't just do the weird stuff too.
Occasionally you need some bread, you need some starch with your wacky vegetables.
Exactly, which like I said, I'm all for it. Like I said, I say this is going to be the most straight up show, but I don't say that as in a bad way. I'm like, okay, we're getting all these weird stuff, but we're also getting the familiar MCU we know and love. I mean, there's a reason why the MCU is the most popular film franchise of all time. Like, you shouldn't just blow up everything. Like, yes, branch out, do other stuff, but also, do your main stuff too. Like, when you see a band in concert, they still play the hits from the first album, kind of deal.
Right, exactly. If I, if I show up to a concert and they don't play their hit single, I'm gonna be mad.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, experiment with these other genres, do all this other stuff, but don't forget what made you. And that's what the Falcon Winter Soldier represents, in my opinion.
Exactly.
They're not forgetting what made them. They're gonna do a straight up, traditional show, but it's like, okay, but we're also gonna do all these weird stuff.
Exactly.
And like I said, I am all for that.
Now, since we're running long, we'll wrap it up to the last couple ones. What do you think of the Secret Invasion? Because for me, that's the most, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but, to me, Secret Invasion, the storyline of, the Skrulls replacing heroes. I mean, it's probably not going, just like Civil War wasn't actually Civil War. I'm sure this won't actually be Secret Invasion. But it seems so weird to me to burn this concept on a TV show. I expected Secret Invasion to be Avengers 5 or Avengers 6 or, some major, status quo breaking movie. So, the idea of, oh yeah, Nick Fury's here and there's some Skrulls. What is this show?
Yeah, and the other thing is, how do you do Secret Invasion when you already established in Captain Marvel, hey, the Skrulls aren't bad guys, which was a great twist, but now it's but then how do you do Secret Invasion? Because the whole thing is that they're bad guys in that.
I mean, so you could always be like, oh, well, there was a sleeper cell of evil Skrulls before we became nice.
So yeah, that's definitely a show that I really have no idea how that's gonna turn out.
I don't know, to me the only fun of Secret Invasion is because I don't know, Invasions of the Body Snatchers, it's fine, but the idea of the tension of who's been replaced, who hasn't been replaced, so you get that whole kind of roster of characters, and I don't see how they can do that, both because currently in the timeline everyone's all scattered to the winds, and secondly because it's a TV show and you're not gonna get everybody.
Yeah, it was actually I remember when Captain Marvel came out and we found out there was gonna be Skrulls. We were a lot of people was oh, what if this character was a Skrull? What if this character Skrull? I remember my prediction was Thunderbolt Ross was going to be a Skrull.
My prediction was that Coulson was going to be a Skrull, and then that
wouldn't make sense for the TV show.
What?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. though.
I mean, yeah, but I also, I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. exists in that gray area of canon, I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I'm just
yeah, I get what you're saying.
I didn't feel like it was firmly set enough that they could have explained away a million things.
Well, especially the later seasons felt less and less attached to the MCU.
Right.
Especially when the Inhumans were everywhere. It's but Inhumans aren't everywhere in the MCU.
Right, exactly. It doesn't really feel connected unless those characters get folded back in, which I don't think they're gonna do.
Yeah, the first couple of seasons though definitely felt MCU.
The first 2 seasons I thought felt the Nick Fury cameos and there were enough hints and stuff that I was oh, maybe they'll bring this back. But then after they went through that whole subplot for in prepping for Age of Ultron and then it didn't pay off, I was there's not going anywhere. But anyway, that's another episode about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. I know. Are there any of the shows we forgot to... Oh, we haven't discussed Armor Wars, which...
Well, let's Armor Wars and Ironheart. Let's group them together because they're very similar Tony Stark tech shows.
Well, Armor Wars, more Rhodey, cool. That's really my only opinion on that. I like Rhodey.
I think Don Cheadle was all right, come on, I've been paralyzed for 3 movies. Give me something good.
And as far as Ironheart goes, she's a character I know some about, and I don't like. I have no attachment to her.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll make me feel something to her.
Well,
I don't know.
I think that's
I'm
another workshop character of like, if you just are like, hey, Iron Man 4 starring Riri Williams, people are like, what? But if you're like, all right, here's a show introducing you, and if people are like, oh, we love this character, then you know. And I would bet dollars to donuts at least a voice cameo by Robert Downey Jr. in the Ironheart series.
I don't know. I feel like that'd be kind of cheap, him coming back after everything.
Well, no, I don't think it'll be a full... Like, I don't think he'll be back. I'm saying, like, I think she will find his hologram of, like, something, you know, or, like, a video recording of him or Howard Stark. I don't think it will be... I don't think you can have an Iron Man, like... Even though she's not Iron Man, she's Ironheart. But, like, I think you can't have that technology without having her be like, oh, this is the legacy of Tony Stark, or whatever. I will say, as long as they don't... Like, I know nothing about the character, other than I know she's, like, in college and she drops out to be, like, a superhero. But as long as they don't give her that stupid, like, helmet with the heart, like, in the center of the forehead, that's the dumbest looking costume. Just give her normal costume, and I'm okay with it.
Alright, and I think we covered every show, right? Oh, well, we didn't do the holiday special.
Yeah, like you said, it's a one-off, but I am very obviously excited for the holiday special, especially because back before the James Gunn firing and rehiring, he said that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would be a Christmas movie, and so I think what we're seeing is basically like, you know, since that no longer lines up with what they're doing in the new phase and you know, phase 4 and beyond, I think it's like, all right, his ideas for 3 before he got fired are going into the holiday special.
Yeah. And let's be honest, the bar for science fiction Christmas specials is very low.
I don't know. That Lego Star Wars holiday special was pretty heartwarming. But yes, you know, we're 1-1 right now. Alright, but I think that's all of them. I'd say I'm excited for most of them. I'll say I'm genuinely excited for about half of them. I'm curiously optimistic for like 3 or 4 of them.
And I'm gonna watch them all, though.
Of course, I'm gonna watch them all. You know, although I will say, I mean, they've promised that everything will tie in and be important and connect together. But I used to be an MCU junkie where it's like every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Inhumans, like I gotta see it all because it's all gonna fit together. But
you watched Inhumans?
I actually didn't watch all of Inhumans because that was where I kind of drew the line. But I used to feel like, oh, I have to catch up on every season and every comic and everything because it's all gonna pay off. And then I kind of I don't know. I became disillusioned with the idea of like, all right, not everything's going to pay off. So as long as they make this feel important and to the point where like I got to be honest, I'm probably never going to watch like The Runaways or Hellstrom. Like those are technically in the MCU, but I'm like they don't have anything to do with anything. They'll never come up again. It's like I don't have time to watch like multiple seasons of television for something that's not going to like feel like it pays off. Unless the show itself is like that amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's my other thing is like, you know, which is like the danger of shows like What If. Like obviously What If isn't going to tie into anything, but as long as the show itself is good, then that's fine. But you know, if say if Moon Knight is like in the Hellstrom universe and like doesn't connect to anything, then I might be, less excited. My camera dropped out, so that's telling me that we've been talking for more than half an hour. Too much. So thank you again, everybody.
Yes. Have a good night or good morning, whatever time of day you're watching this. Bye.
Bye-bye.